What is up, office workers and interns? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode we are taking a break and diving into something lighthearted. We are going to talk about Haman's butt as we dive into Arasa, OL Haman-sama, or around 30-something office worker Haman-sama. OL stands for Office Lady for anyone interested. The Japanese people love using their acronyms. This is a slice-of-life manga where we see our hero, Haman, go about her day-to-day life in middle management. She will attempt to find love and navigate an awkward social life. To spice things up, we are going to have a gratuitous butt shot counter. Just so you degenerates know, I am not counting casual butt shots, just gratuitous ones. What am I doing with my life? Anyways, let's get into this. Haman-sama works for the Neo-Zeon apparel company. She is currently a section manager, and one of her employees, Mashima, is apologizing to her. All she really wants to do, though, is head home and free her boobs from the constraint of her office clothes. Focus, we made a choice on butts, we're sticking with it. She grabs her plush Cubely and passes out. Haman borrowed a movie from her coworker Shar, titled Impressive Masterpiece Love Story. She doesn't buy into sappy romance stories and knows that she isn't going to like it, but she decides to watch it just to criticize and make fun of it. The more and more she watches the movie, the more she gets into it, until she is finally brought to tears. We get to see Haman's morning routine, so if you ever wanted to know how Haman does her hair, mainly curling iron, hairdryer, and a lot of patience. Haman goes to work to find two of her coworkers looking at a picture of a cat. She looks at it as well and is overtaken by the cuteness, even though she has never been interested in cats before. Mashima says that Haman is probably more a lion. She somewhat agrees with him, and she gets the team back to work. Haman feels down after being compared to a cat. She sits on the curb after work as a cat happens to walk up to her. She picks up the cat and asks if it will comfort her, a reminder that Sha is French for cat. The cat decides to bite her finger and run off. Haman cries herself to sleep that night. Haman is a part of the public relations department. She wants her team to know the enemy, but in order to know the enemy, they must know thyself. So they are all going to test their two new lingerie products, the Hama Hama and the Gaza C. The Gaza C mobile suits is quite slim and has a lot of internals revealed to the world. So too does the Gaza C lingerie leave little to the imagination. The Hama Hama is more conservative, but still doesn't skimp on style. When you woke up today, did you expect to consume this kind of content? Well, I didn't expect to write it, so we are both put in an awkward situation right now. One of our employees, Karasun, volunteers to try the product. She begins stripping right in front of everyone. Haman tells her to go to the changing room and asks if she has any shame. Kara says no. She tells her to take it off. As Haman's shirt comes off, breast pads fall out. Haman was even using 2 breast pads per boob to fill out her chest, and she is ashamed. Haman is embarrassed, but Kara offers some of her breast meat. In the other room, Shar could hear their entire conversation. It is 5 p.m. The workday is done. Some people go out to the bars. Others go for a drive. Haman, however, decides to spend her night off eating $30 worth of sweets. This is what being an adult is to her. She splurges on the expensive brand of Häagen-Dazs. Is Häagen-Dazs a big brand in Japan? I didn't see it when I lived there 10 years ago, but I always went for the 7-Eleven cheap stuff. She waits for a convenience store worker to ring her up. She wonders if all this sugar will give her acne. That is when the store clerk, Jiro Ashita, comes in to help her with the biggest smile. While he rings her up, Haman melts on the inside. She did not know that he worked today. Haman wishes that he would ask her out. Judo bluntly says to Haman that is a lot of junk food. She doesn't know how to respond. Should she lie to him? Perhaps she is going to a party? She holds up an umaibo to her face and says, adult women also eat sweets at night. If you haven't tried an umaibo, it's like a giant Cheeto stick. Haman goes home and dwells for 2 hours on why she said that to Judo. She worries and dwells so much that she doesn't even touch her snacks. Haman is hanging out with all of her plush Cublies. She is waiting for a delivery today. She is receiving her limited edition Mochi Cube. As she plays with her Cublies, she notices a roach on the wall. Japanese people really loathe roaches. The only thing that Japanese people hate more than roaches are Koreans. Got 'em! Japan isn't immune to racism. She is no longer in her 20s and can't scream for help. He must take action. She grabs a fly swatter, insecticide, hot water, a newspaper, and detergent. This is Heavy Weapon Systems Haman. She must try to avoid close combat because roaches are icky and gross. The fight begins. Outside of her home, the delivery man comes to her door. Haman opens the door crying. She ended up crushing the roach. The delivery man doesn't really care and just wants her to sign for the package. At work, one of Haman's subordinates comes in with a new revision plan. She gives a smile and praises her, but she leaves apologizing and saying she will do better next time. She looks in the mirror and smiles to realize that she looks really scary when she smiles. She flashes back to the past 30 years and wonders if she always looked this scary when she smiled. She realizes that she is on the path to becoming a boomer. She practices being nice in front of a mirror. Char walks in and teases her. Char also solves this problem quite easily by telling the subordinate that Haman liked her pitch. Haman is wearing a new perfume today. She fantasizes about Char noticing her perfume and commenting how it is 3 times better than before. As she goes into work, she tries to get Char to notice, but he is too busy on the phone. That is when Mashima comes over to ask Haman a question and notices her new perfume. After work, Haman goes to the kombini and solves her anger with alcohol. Judo happens to be working that day. He happens to notice Haman's perfume. She is glad that someone she actually likes notices. He then says that it smells like a bathroom air freshener. Haman runs out crying, forgetting her beer. That is the last day she wore that perfume. At the office, Kara asks Haman if she wants to go to a party with her. Haman doesn't really like low-level events like that, but Kara insists. She decides she will go. Even though she gave Kara a hard time, she is very excited that she was invited. They head out to an izakaya to party. Amongst the group is Bicha, Mondo, Ino, and Rekawa. Haman didn't realize they would be partying with 20-somethings. This isn't 20-something Haman-sama. This is 30-something Haman-sama. Ino says that he is into mature women, but Haman says she isn't even close to being old enough to be called mature. Bicha mentions that the gang knows judo, and he never comes to these events because he is always hanging out with his sister. Bicha says that he thinks that he has a sister complex. Earlier, Haman thinks that judo thinks of her like a sister because of how blunt he is. But if he has a sister complex, she has a chance. Weird angle to attack romance, but what do I know? She uses this party as an opportunity to get Bicha drunk and have him spill all the info on judo. The next morning, Haman is hungover. She struggles to make it to her train stop, but when she does, she finds Rekawa smoking and hungover as well. Haman has made a new drinking friend. The apartments that Haman live in are called Axis Mansion. She gets a visitor at the door. It is her young sister, Minerva. Even though they aren't related, their bond is very strong. She is 18 and came to visit some potential colleges. She is wearing a vest from the Weist Foundation. She says that she wants to be just like Haman, but she uses alliterative language involving lights and solar rays and other weapons of mass destruction in Universal Century. She hasn't decided which school she wants to go to, but she knows she wants to be close to Haman again. She wants to use the bathroom and stumbles into a corner of Haman's room where she stuffed trash and junk. In Japan, it is customary to always have a clean and pristine living quarters, which is why you get the overused cliche of stumbling into a room full of trash and being embarrassed. Haman says, "I'm sorry, I was very, very drunk before you came over." Haman wants to be a better role model for Minerva. The two clean up together. Minerva makes Haman her special pasta. As she eats it, Minerva calls Haman cute. She doesn't hear that often, so it causes her to cough up the food. Minerva stays the night before heading home the next day. Haman finally finished. I just realized her subordinate is Sarah. She wonders how Haman is able to handle so much. She doesn't reveal that she essentially covered her entire back with Salonpas pads. She sums up the pain of being over 30 quite well. It is never being able to get rid of the tiredness from the day before. Mashima comes over and massages Haman's shoulders. Of course, Mashima is that creepy guy in the office. However, it feels so nice after a long day that Haman doesn't even mind. Sarah comes over and says what they are doing is considered sexual harassment. Mashima immediately stops. Haman says that he should quit his job and start a massage parlor. Mashima says that Haman is quite funny. Haman isn't joking. Later that day, Haman went to get a proper massage. Haman is up late at night staring at her phone. She can't get to sleep. She wonders what it would be like if Judo proposed to her. Her fantasy starts out like your typical drama. Judo says, "I love you, but I'm just a part-time kombini worker." Haman runs her own fantasy by imagining herself taking care of Judo like a princess. She imagines Mashima proposing to her while giving her a bouquet of 100,000 roses. Nope, she doesn't like that either. She then imagines if Char proposes. He does so, but he does it so nonchalantly and wonders what should they do now. Haman strips into a dominatrix outfit and forces Char to ask her out. She smiles, but then realizes that she is fantasizing about men she knows. She ends up embarrassing herself to a point where she gets absolutely no sleep that night. The next day at work, Char asks Haman why she didn't sleep so well. Haman tells him to shut up and that it is his fault. And that will do it for this episode. Since we started our breakdown on Char's daily life, it is only fair that we also cover 30-something office worker Haman-sama. Next time, Haman and Char spend the night together, but it isn't what you think. Also, the team gets 2 new employees, Kuru and Kuru 2. Haman has to navigate managing the younger generation. But that will do it for now, office workers. Remember to make sure your living room is pristine like a Japanese person. Peace.